So I know by now many people have heard about the horrible, tragic events that happened in Georgia with the individual that was simply jogging, trying to live his life, and was gunned down by homegrown terrorists impersonating police officers, or race soldiers, as they should be called. Um, it inspires me to, make this broadcast. And the reason for that is, there's so much going on out here, so much negativity. It can prompt you to be negative. And the best thing is to be aware of what's out here, be prepared for it, to prevent potential issues. Unfortunately, a lot of your movements, especially being a black man, has to be calculated. And it's sad that it's 2020 and there's 9 other planets in this galaxy, but it seems like people just want to tear down this planet and make up and kill each other and make up reasons for doing so, when there's so much out there for everybody. But in any event, if you get dealing with people with a scarcity mindset, very primitive, barbaric, caveman, cave woman kind of mindset, aka the hashtag Me Too movement, but that's what you're gonna get. You're just gonna deal with people that dwell in fear, and they can practice all the yoga they want and all those tenets that come from the East, and then really from ancient Kemet. But if they don't internalize it, it doesn't end up mattering. In any event, I say all that to say that you have people that are wolves in sheep clothing. They pretend to be enforcers of the good. And you just got to be mindful of the fact that you got a lot of snakes in the grass out here. And so, with that being said, you have to be mindful of how you move. So it's kind of like they say like a chessboard. You had to play strategically. There's a lot of people who just don't like you. So is it best to stay away from those people? Is it best to counteract, or is it best to try to go use a method to thwart them? It's all on you, but what you decide. But whatever you decide, look at the best option. Look at it from a cost-benefit analysis. How much will it cost, and how much will I benefit from the action that I take? Is it good for me to be around these people? I mean, really, seriously examine that. That girl, and there's tons of women that do this. They're flirting with you at your office, knowing darn well it's absolutely ridiculous that she's flirting with a man in the office, strutting her butt out, trying to get your attention. And you're a good person, good male. You're not, a deviant or a creep or a super predator or whatever, pops up in these wolves in sheep clothing mind. There's reasons to justify to the public to hate you. But they're doing all they can in their power. They're not worrying about making the same amount of money as men on a dollar, but they're worrying about trying to sexually lure men in the workplace. You got to ask yourself, is the juice worth the squeeze? So for one, in an instance of that example, never play where you work. That can be very dangerous, especially in these times. I mean, like him or not like him, one thing the president said in the U.S. that was true is this is a dangerous time for men. So you got to be careful, who you dealing with out here, man. I mean, cost-benefit analysis. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Also, when you are around certain people, unfortunately, racism is one of the number one issues. The battle of race. People with a certain amount of hue in the skin racing against people with a certain amount of hue in the skin, less or more, etc., etc. And where are they categorized as coming from in the planet? Some people, they hate each other literally to the point, just because their skin color is different, that they want to destroy one another, and they want to destroy you, and that's real. It could be a slow burn where they charge on you. It could be outright they want to shoot you, like that young man that got shot in Georgia for doing nothing but jogging. You gotta ask yourself, is it worth being around these people? Is this something that I could avoid? If I can avoid it, avoid it. Avoid it. You see somebody doing something wrong, you see something is wrong, your spider sense tingling, run. Don't sit there and keep trying to fit in with them. Altering your voice, trying to appease these people will not help you, because see, they don't want to accept you. That's the whole point. They want to hate you no matter what you do. You can be stellar and everything. You have to be the most educated person in the room. It doesn't matter. These people vibrate at a low frequency level and hate anything that is different. When you see things that are not good for you from the food you eat, ask yourself, will this food be energy enhancing or energy depleting? Will I be tired significantly after eating this meal? If that is so, leave that food alone. Now, that's not the most easiest thing to do in our society. I know for many that is something that we all wrestle with, with what's put in the food, the GMOs, etc. But you have to use restraint as much as possible to avoid consuming something that can be bad for your health. And that is, on the word of consuming, that leads to what you listen to, what you watch. Is it stimulating in a healthy way? Does it get you to think critically? Hell, does it make you relax in a positive way? Or does it bring fear? I.e. horror movies. Does it bring intellectual stimulation, like a documentary on the Moorish Empire? You have to ask yourself, that is, the Moorish Empire is taught closest to the truth that it could be taught. But you have to ask yourself, in any move you make, is it good for me? Does this bring about a constructive action or a destructive action? Some things you may not know right off the top of your head or right away, but as time goes on, it becomes clearer and clearer to you. As if you are far away from a location, and then as you walk closer and closer to it, you are able to clearly see that which is in front of you as you get closer to that which is in front of you. Never forget to be aware, focused, and mindful of your actions. This is very, very important as time moves forward, to be mindful of the actions that you take, the moves that you make, the people that you surround yourself around. What do you consume? All of this is important in developing yourself into a highly aware, highly functional, constructive, contributing individual. With that in thought, I go back to the comments that I made earlier about the unfortunate events in Georgia where the black man was killed by two white supremacists for simply jogging. These horrible events continue to go on and on. The terrorist attacks against blacks, which has been going on since the inception of this country. It can make you feel, especially if you're black, you feel hopeless, or I hate being black. So that way I don't get treated like that. You start hating being black so you can hopefully be accepted by white people, so that they wouldn't want to harm you. Or you begin hating white people. F these people, etc., etc. But hate, it only makes you weak. I end this with this movie I've always been into, Star Wars. And the episode 5, when Luke, he disobeys the instructions of his masters, but they leave him with one bit of information. They tell him, Obi-Wan Kenobi says, don't give in to hate, because that leads to the dark side. Once you go down the route of hate, forever it will consume you. And then it may not be any turning back. No matter the manipulation, no matter what is done against you, always stay true to who you are. And love, not hate. Because like Luke said in episode 6, when the Emperor wanted him to kill his father, he said, no, you fail, Your Highness. I am a Jedi, like my father before me. And with that, he brought up the fact of what it meant to be a Jedi, to be noble, to be at peace, to be defensive, never to strike unless necessary. To be at peace, to be in love with who you are by growing and being the best you can be. Love conquers hate. Stay blessed, stay up. One love.